Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Life Reset Collective. My name is Josh. This is the channel committed to helping people who are going through a life reset. This is a very difficult thing. Sometimes we go through disasters and we need to rebuild and reset and start over in life. I call this a life reset. And if you have been through one or you're getting ready to go through one or you're going through one right now, well, welcome, friend. This is the channel for you. I made this channel because sometimes people don't understand what it's like. And I've been through two major life resets in my life, so I do know what it's like. And I'm here to help provide support, encouragement, practical steps, and just share the journey. Today, I want to ask the question, is it even possible to be happy? Is it even possible? And the reason I want to ask this question is because there are times when we're going through hard situations, especially during a life reset, when it might actually feel impossible to be happy. And I want to go back in time to the summer of 2025 when I was going through my divorce. And there was a period of time between basically but May and November, like that period of time in there where life was just literally, it felt like a living hell for me. I was basically staying with family. I had gotten laid off from my job. I had to change careers, like literally in the middle of this divorce. A tornado hit my house. I was constantly working like two jobs and then just trying to stay afloat and just barely having enough to scrape by. My life was going through such a tumultuous, destructive season, and so many things were happening. And I'm so grateful and so thankful now that I look back on those times that I've come out of that and that my life is so different now. And I'm so happy that, those things are behind me and now I can move forward into the future. But what about when you're in that, friends? What about when you are in that and happiness just feels like I'm in a pipe dream? You just think, God, my life is so crazy. My life is so full of turmoil and strife and suffering right now. What am I supposed to do? How am I ever supposed to find any happiness here? And I think that this is a very fair thing. And if you feel this way or you have felt this way during your life resets, I want you to know that this is understandable. And I understand this very much. And while I know that it's hard, a lot of people won't understand it. When you're stuck in life and you're at the bottom of the pit, when you have fallen down, you've gotten crushed down by whatever circumstances, it could be divorce, it could be losing your job, it could be, losing your home, it could be an illness diagnosis or a legal problem, like whatever it is that caused your life to just crash and burn. It can feel so hopeless at the bottom of that pit. You get stuck in the mud down there and it takes so much effort just to get up, much less just try to climb out, and you have no energy and you're depressed and anxious and everything feels so terrible and bad. And I think that a lot of people do not understand this. Like a lot of people from the outside looking in will say things like, well, you just need to have a better attitude. I think you just need to try to be happier. Just try not to be so stressed out. But they don't understand how your whole life is just on hold. Everything is ground down to a halt, and you were just living in this miserable existence. Now, I'm not trying to say there's not a way out of this. I believe there is. And that's part of why I made this channel, is because I want to give encouragement. And friend, you deserve to know that there's hope at the end of the tunnel. But I'm also I'm not gonna sugarcoat this, and I'm not gonna be like those people who just tell you, you just need to cheer up and march forward, because I know how deeply, just horrifically lonely and isolating and insufferable that period of time can be. And you might think to yourself, is there any way I'm ever going to be happy again? Ever? Is life ever going to be anything than this endless pit of suffering that I'm in right now? Sometimes life truly feels that way. And when it does feel that way, I think it's important to understand a few things. Number one, it's important to understand that this is a season and getting through it is going to be very hard. And this season might be a week, it might be a month, it might be a year. Everybody's situation is different. For me, this was pretty close to being an 8-month season during this last life reset. So, I know about that to some degree. My experience is different than yours, but I do understand it. And there's just no other way around it. There's a point to where we kind of have to go through that. And it does suck. And when I say that, I think you'll understand what I mean. Like there's really no option sometimes. Sometimes you've got to go through the suck. You got to go through the muck and the mud, and you just have to trudge through the misery. And now, with that being said, I'm also going to say that I think one of the things about me that has helped me to be resilient in life is that I've always found a way to turn really terrible, like either circumstances or experiences or failures. I've always found a way to turn them into lessons. And so when I was in that dark place back in 2025, I thought to myself, it's time to adapt. It's time to learn. It's time to work on myself. It's time to try to frame this as every single day, I'm going to commit myself to learning what I can do to keep moving forward, to keep bettering myself, to keep learning and adapting and evolving. And I will say, I got so strong through that period of life. And you probably are too. Like if you're going through that right now, you are probably getting incredibly strong in yourself. You're probably getting a lot of experience just tolerating suffering, growing tougher skin, learning to be more formidable, learning to stand up for yourself, learning to master your own emotions, learning to put one foot in front of the other and to keep on going. You probably have to just to survive. And so there is a utility in that. And for me, when I think about that, it helps me to think, all that time I spent in that horrible season, it wasn't a waste, even though it was so terrible. But because I made it a developmental season, when I came out of that season, I was a better person. I was a better human. I learned my lessons. I faced those demons. I really looked myself in the mirror and I said, okay, you've got a lot of things you need to change. We do not want this to happen again. We need to figure out how to back engineer these failures and these circumstances so that they do not happen again. And this was very useful. And I think it was successful. And I've done other things like that, but this happened across such a vast chasm of my life, from my work and to my marriage to literally my house getting hit by a tornado, so many things happening at once. Now, with that being said, I want to also say another thing. I want to say that happiness is going to come your way again. And it's not like you can expect, because I'm suffering so much right now, it's going to be so beautiful and it's all going to be perfect if I just got the other side. No, it doesn't really work like that. And you probably know this. And drop a comment and let me know if you know what I'm talking about. What it actually is we go from total suffering, and then we got to kind of dip one toe into the sunlight. So it's like 99% suffering, 1% happiness. And then if we manage to keep going, it's like 98% suffering, 2% happiness. It does not change overnight. If anything, the suffering and the unhappiness and just the drudge through the muck and the mire, it slowly recedes. We slowly escape it. And only in little tiny bits, and it takes so much work to do it, because by the time we get out of that, friends, we're also traumatized. We've got baggage from those experiences. We're going to have some trauma. We're going to have hurt, emotions. We're going to have damage from that, and we've got to deal with that even when we're getting happier. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. I have a feeling you know what I'm talking about. But so even when we're trying to get happy, we have to deal now with the demons that followed us out of that, right? That live inside of us, the trauma, the hurt, the pain, the suffering, the fear that it might happen again, right? But I will say this, and this has been my experience so far. Every day that I move in the right direction, that I go in the right direction, which basically means right for me, toward the future I want, toward the future I want to build, and toward the me that I want to build in that future. Every day that I put in the work, put one foot in front of the other, and I slowly just climb out of the pit and up the mountain toward the next horizon. Every day that I put in that work, I do get happier, and a bit more of that suffering gets left behind. A little bit more of the mud drips off of me, and I'm a little bit lighter. And if I continue to adapt and change and I continue to work on myself, then I can expect for that to continue, that trend. Now, does that mean I'm not going to slide backwards sometimes? Oh, no. No, backward sliding is going to happen, but that's part of life. Does that mean I'm never going to have a disaster again? Nope. I'm definitely going to have disasters again. And so are you. But we're in this process, this life process of development, being strong, experiencing life, having hope, experiencing sadness, and then experiencing joy and pleasure. So many things, guys. Don't ever take this life for granted. Don't ever let your days go to waste. I'm so thankful for every single day. And I try to practice that gratitude every day. I try to think, I get to live another day today. I'm going to do exactly what I want. And that's why I sat down to make this YouTube video, because this is exactly what I wanted to do. And I'm so happy that I'm doing this and that I get to do this, and all the other things in my life. My life is very full and happy, and it's going in a very good direction, but there are still demons following me from the past. I still have some mud clinging to me, guys. I'm still damaged on the inside, but we're working toward it. Okay. So I just want to give you a little encouragement today. Happiness is possible, but don't be surprised if it's hard to find when you're in the middle of the disaster. And I just want you to believe in yourself. I want you to have hope. It will get better. It will get better. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep moving forward, and you will be able to make it happen. You will be able to survive. You will come out the other side, and there will be paradise for you, my friend. Another chapter, and you deserve it. Thank you so much for coming back for another episode of the Life Reset Collective. My name is Josh. I'll see you amazing people on the next one.